Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Kate. If you're new here, I am a 30-year-old living in Brisbane, Australia, and doing some lifestyle content and whatnot here on YouTube. We also recently just got back from a cruise. Very exciting stuff. It was the first time that Simon and I went away on a holiday together. Simon's my partner. And yeah, we had a great time on our cruise. If you want to check out the cruise vlogs, I will have them linked all over the place, everywhere. So don't worry, you won't miss them. But today we are talking about how much we spent on the cruise. So I blocked this out into a couple of just different sections of things that we had to spend money on, things that we spent money on during the actual cruise itself, and things that I spent money on in the lead up to the cruise, which were just things that I kind of needed anyway, but were moderately linked to the cruise. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully it makes sense when we get to it. First of all, we're going to start with casting our minds way back to July of 2022, which is when we booked the cruise. So when we booked the cruise, we just ended up deciding to book it because it was on one of the P&O specials. We did travel with P&O cruises. Just for a bit of context, P&O cruises, we were supposed to be going to Vanuatu and New Caledonia. It was called the Pacific Island Hopper, I think, was the cruise that we were supposed to go on. Unfortunately, on the day we were supposed to leave, we showed up and there was a change of plans. There were some cyclones out in the Pacific Ocean, so instead we went to Cairns Airlie Beach, which was lovely. It was supposed to be our first time leaving the country. Unfortunately, that didn't end up happening, but we did have a lovely week-long trip up to Cairns Airlie Beach. It was 7 nights. Hopefully that's most of the context that you need for this. Also, sorry about the lighting. It is raining here today, which I absolutely love. It does make for great video lighting. Maybe I should turn this on. I'm going to turn this on and see if that helps. I don't know. It feels a bit warmer, which is nice, I guess. Anyway, I have my laptop here with all of my budget and everything listed out on it. I went through and listed out everything. But we were casting our mind back to July of 2022. P&O had a sale on at the time. It was less of a sale, more of a promotion, I guess, where it was a $1 deposit per person. So we ended up, what really sort of kicked us into booking it was the fact that if we decided to cancel or change our minds, it would only be $2 down the drain. So we decided to book it. So on the 31st of July 2022, we spent $2 on the cruise. So in terms of the price of the cruise itself, on the 14th of February, we then had to pay a proper deposit for it. And that was $498. And then on the 8th of July, we had to make our final payment, which was $3,158. So the cruise itself cost $3,658. Now we did get a balcony room with introverts homebodies, so we liked the idea of having a space that we could come back to. It was great for views, honestly. I would get a balcony again just to be able to see the views that we got without having to fight with other people up on the decks for the good views. For us, balcony room, highly recommend. We also got the premium drinks package. All of this was bundled in together. I can't tell how much each individual thing cost, but if you look on the P&O website now, the premium drinks package would cost you $99 per person per day. So that was included in that $3,658. We also got a small Wi-Fi package. The Wi-Fi package that we got as part of our accommodation is just a separate type of Wi-Fi package, or they changed the way they do their Wi-Fi packages, because I can't find the one that we got anymore. We had 250 megabytes of data or something. It was a very small amount. It was not much. We had a small amount of data, whereas now the ones that you can book are things like booking a social package where you can go on Facebook and Instagram but you can't do anything else, a streaming package where you can watch Netflix and stuff. So those are the options they have now. I think the cheapest one I could find was $18.40 per person per day, so somewhere around that. And then we also got $200 on board spending along with that, which is $100 per person. So $3,658 for 7 nights on board in a balcony room, including drinks and a very small amount of Wi-Fi and a couple $100 of spending money. It was pretty good. We were pretty happy with that. That was the cost of the cruise itself. Also, if you've never been on a cruise before, I think it's the same for almost all of them, but that includes basically all of your food. You can go to the restaurants that cost a bit more money. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if you wanted to not spend any more money at all on your cruise, you could absolutely do that with just this. You could spend $3,658, and basically that would be your entire holiday for 7 days, which is pretty good. We, of course, spent more money than that. The other thing I was going to say, I will also do a bit of a breakdown of whether or not the drinks package was worth it. Of course, it's completely individual. This is not me telling you which one you should do, but I will do that in another video. I'm going to do a hints and tips and sort of a review of the cruise, hopefully. Will be coming out. My next category is expenses that we paid that were directly related to the cruise. So anything that we're not going to be able to use again at a later time, and it's just basically it's gone now that the cruise is finished. These ones are things that we spent either before or immediately after the cruise. So in April we purchased our travel insurance. Now at that time we still thought we were going on an international cruise. One of the places we were going to, I think it was New Caledonia, required that you have international cruise travel insurance in order to be able to actually enter the country. And if you didn't have that, you could have gotten kicked off the cruise. So we were going to get travel insurance regardless, but this one sort of forced us to do that. So we got our travel insurance. I did it through RACQ because that's what my car insurance is through, so it's easiest just to stick with that. And that was $328.90. That was for the both of us. That was for me and Simon. In July, I also had to pay a deposit on the cattery where we had Reginald staying for the week that we were away. So I had to pay a $100 deposit on that one. In September, which was the month before our cruise, I bought the romance package, which was one of the P&O options. So it basically meant that when we showed up on board the ship, they had chocolate covered strawberries and champagne in our room ready for us, which was absolutely lovely. We really enjoyed that. We also got, we were supposed to get canapes on one of the cocktail nights. We ended up getting canapes twice, and we never knew when they were coming. So the first time they arrived, we showed up back in our room at like 9:30 at night, and our canapes had been sitting there for a few hours, so they weren't the best quality. And then the next ones we had, we couldn't even get the tray open. They have like the plate with the plastic cover over the top, and we couldn't get the plastic cover open, so we didn't get to eat those ones. So that one was a little bit disappointing. They were quite tasty the night that we had them. It would have been great if they were fresh. And if we'd actually contacted our stewards, we probably could have found out when those canapes were going to be coming. So mostly on us, but a little bit disappointing. But we also got a free breakfast included with the romance package, which was great. We just stuck the, you know, the standard little breakfast card that you get at hotels and everything. You just fill that out, stick it on the front door. It had like a romance package, just handwritten, I think, stapled to it so that they knew that it was the free one. Had some pancakes on the floor of our room because there wasn't really a good place to sit and eat. We ate on the floor. And the final thing that we paid, which was sort of external to the cruise, once we got back we had to pay the final payment for the cattery, which was $238.80. So it was $338.80 total for Reginald to be housed at this place for a week, which I think was pretty good. I've never had to board any pets before, so I don't know what's standard, but he had like a little garden room and everything. He had food all day, every day, so I don't think he was lacking for anything while he was there. So I think he should have had a pretty good time, so we are pretty happy with that. So total costs for those things was $766.70. Not too bad so far. So my next category is things that we spent while we were actually on the cruise. So let's have a look at what we've got. There are quite a few here, so bear with me. So first up, we took an Uber to get to the cruise terminal, which is $34.42. When we initially boarded the ship, we didn't quite understand how the drinks package works. So if you order 2 drinks, even though there's 2 of you, you both have a drinks package. If you put them on the one card, they will charge you for one of the drinks. So we did get charged for one of the drinks on our first night, so that was $16. They had one show on board that you had to purchase tickets for. So we purchased tickets for that. That was $30 each, so $60 for us total. Apparently we also made a donation to P&O at some point for $1. I bought a lanyard on board. Lanyards are very helpful for cruises. You can stick your cruise card on it and just have it with you all the time, right around your neck. Super helpful, highly recommend. They have plenty available on the cruise if you don't have your own at home. So we went out to the P&O Trattoria, which is the paid Italian restaurant on board. We spent $81.99 there, and it was definitely worth it. $82 for a 3-course dinner for 2 people is pretty good value for money for starters, and the food was delicious. So the other paid restaurant on board was Luke's Bar and Grill. We didn't go to that one. Not that we didn't think it would be good, it just wasn't super appealing to us. Whereas I absolutely love Italian food, so of course we had to go to the Italian restaurant. We also did some archery on board, so that was $49 for the 2 of us to do archery. The drinks package that we had covered any alcoholic drinks up to $16 per drink. There were a couple of Long Island iced teas. They were like peach Long Island iced teas or something like that, which we thought sounded good. So we tried those, they were $20 each, so we had to pay for those. Now the big one, we were lured into a photo shoot while we were on board, and so we ended up spending a bunch of money on some photos, which they are absolutely gorgeous photos. Really happy with how they turned out. Definitely worth it, but it was $1,396 for our photos. I think we got 14 photos, and they were sunset photos, so they were beautiful. We didn't go to Luke's Grill, but there is also Luke's Burgers on board, which you do have to pay for. So we got ourselves some burgers and chips, and that was $57. So next up was our day in Cairns. So this was money that we spent on shore. So we went to Caffeine for breakfast, which was a lovely cafe in Cairns. Again, highly recommend that place. It was $72.50 for our breakfast at Caffeine. We then went to the Cairns Aquarium, which was $104 for the 2 adult tickets. We also bought some souvenirs at the Cairns Aquarium, so that was $40.97. And then we went to lunch at Copper Bar and Grill, which is $159.27. Obviously, anything that is in this category is things that we didn't actually have to spend money on. These are all things that we chose to spend money on extra. If you didn't want to spend this money, you wouldn't have to. You could stay on the ship during your shore days and just eat the food that's on board. You could just go for a walk, go to a park, any sort of free activities while you are on shore. So there's absolutely no need to spend all of this money. This is just what we happened to spend. So if you are like us and wanting to go out and do some things but nothing too fancy, this is probably sort of what you could expect to pay. Now again, we didn't quite understand how cruising works. We did order an additional dessert when we went out for dinner. We asked them if we could order an extra dessert. They said yes. They didn't really let us know that it would cost extra, but they did say yes, and so that was $3 for an additional dessert. Yes, we had 3 desserts one night. Next up was our day at Airlie Beach, where the only thing we did at Airlie Beach was go to Micah, which was a lovely Mexican restaurant. It was really nice, had a lovely view out over the beach and over the ocean. Again, highly recommend. All of the places that we went to were fantastic. But we spent $126.23 there, and that was on food as well as drinks. So we got a few cocktails and everything ourselves there. So back on board, there was also the pizza, which you could buy. It was part of the P&O Trattoria, but separate. Just had a few of the pizza options, so we did that, and that was $36 for the pizza. Very tasty. And then we went to the New Zealand ice cream shop, which is another paid little like fast food sort of outlet, I guess, on board. We got ourselves a couple of sundaes, which is $21.90. And finally, the last night we were on board, we were supposed to go to one of the free onboard restaurants, but they had some issues with their stoves or something. They could only do the cold appetizers, which we weren't super keen on. So we went and got pizza again, so that was another $31. So the total cost for everything that we spent on board and on shore throughout the time of the cruise, $2,360.28. Now remember, like $1,300 of that was the photo shoot, so really like $1,000 if you're not going to get photos, which I assume most people won't. We had $200 onboard spending money each. We got $100 each when we booked the cruise, and we also got $100 each when they changed the plan for where we were going. So when they changed from Vanuatu and New Caledonia to Cairns, we each got, every single person on the boat got $100 of onboard credit. So in terms of how much money we actually spent coming out of our account, that was $1,960.28. So the total of all the costs that are directly associated with the cruise comes to $6,384.98. That includes anything that is not going to have any uses outside of the cruise. Things that we spent while we were on board, the cost of the cruise itself, our travel insurance, everything that I just went through, obviously. What I'm going to get into now are the things that I purchased because we were going on a cruise, but have additional uses other than the actual cruise itself. So I'm going to continue to be able to use some of these things. And these are in date order rather than like categories together, so it may be a little bit of a mess. Bear with me and hopefully it will be of interest to at least some of you. So because this was both mine and Simon's first time going overseas, we had to get our passports. So first up, we got our passport photos, $43.90. It was a whole hassle to get our passports, so we actually got the photos separate to the passports because we didn't end up having what we needed. We bought our photos for $43.90. I bought some prescription sunglasses from Specsavers. I've wanted prescription sunglasses for a really long time and I just keep not doing it. I keep needing to buy regular glasses, which is obviously more important than sunglasses. But I've never owned sunglasses in my life since I was like a teeny tiny child and you had the little fake plastic ones. I've never owned a pair of sunglasses, so that was really exciting for me. But that was $321.75. So next up were our passports. Simon and I ended up applying for our passports separately, so I only paid for mine, which is $325. His would have been an extra $325, but I haven't included that in this total because all I am saying is the things that I spent money on. I bought a couple of things from a website called Retro Stage. That one I do not recommend. Most of the clothes didn't really fit me and they don't have any sort of return policy. Basically, if it's anything to do with size, you have to pay for the shipping and everything yourself. So it just wasn't worth it for me to return anything. So it was $107.93 that I spent on that. Now, Superfluous, I highly recommend Superfluous. I started off, I bought 3 dresses and 1 belt from Superfluous. This is actually one of those dresses, and of course, proof that some of these things that I spent money on can be used again. Oh, also our passports, those last for 10 years, so obviously hopefully we will use those again sometime in the next 10 years. But I spent $163.90 on the 3 dresses and belt that I bought initially from Superfluous. Most of those were on sale, so pretty good value for 3 dresses. We then bought some new suitcases. Neither of us really had a good traveling suitcase. Spent $392.98. We got those from Strand Bag. It was a large sized suitcase for me, a slightly smaller one for Simon, but still like a good decent size. I also got a little makeup case that matched the suitcases and a luggage tag to go with that. It was $392.98. I bought a few things from Amazon, so I got myself 3 books. If you watch the cruise videos, you'll know all about the books that I read. But I got 3 books, and I also got us a portable charger each. So there was a nice little 2-pack of chargers, which I got so that we could each have one, which was great. And that was $115.69 total for the books and the charger. Next up, just some bits and pieces from some department stores. So I got a caftan from Kmart for $25. I got my swimwear and another caftan from Target for $75. I got a hat from Big W for $12. I also got a phone tripod off Amazon, which is $29.99. I then bought some more dresses from Superfluous because, of course, these are for the themed parties. So we had the Gatsby night and the white party. We also had a back to school party, but I didn't get anything to wear for that. but I did get a dress for the Gatsby party and a dress for the white party from St. Frock. So that was $168.85 for those two. I also got some jeans from Target. I haven't had jeans in a while. I don't know why. I just haven't been buying jeans. So that was $45. I also got an additional bikini top. The swimwear that I got from Retro Stage, the bottoms were okay, but the top was not made for someone of my breast size. How do you say subtly? Was not working, but I still really like the bottoms, so I decided to just get a bikini top. And I also got a rain jacket from Target. Not even just rain, but just like water spray and stuff that I thought was potentially a possibility on board the ship. I didn't actually use it on board the ship, so that was good. I have used it since in rainy summer Brisbane. Alright, then we got a few more things off of Amazon. So we got a pack of glasses cases. Simon wanted something to put his sunglasses in, and I thought it would be good for me to have one that clips onto stuff as well. So I was able to carry that around on my lanyard, which is great. We bought some Dramamine motion sickness tablets. I also bought the first aid kit bags that we took our first aid kit stuff in. Just a cute little bag. There's a bigger one and also a little one, so we had one that went in our suitcases and one that went in my backpack. And I also bought a universal travel adapter. I know that they say for cruises and stuff you don't know what sort of power plugs you're going to get, so we bought a universal travel adapter, which is pretty cool. You can plug it into theoretically any plug in the world and plug any plug into that plug, and it also came with some USB slots, so that was great. I then went to Priceline and I bought all of the stuff to fill out our first aid kit, so just things like band-aids, Nurofen, Panadol. We bought some Hydrolite to keep us hydrated, which was great while we were on board. Really liked having that. And yeah, just some other like bits and bobs for first aid sort of things. Spent $106.26 on that. I then bought some board shorts from Target. I paid for some pants for Simon in that Target shop, and that was $60. I bought us both some beach towels from Big W. That was $45.90. And the last thing that I have here, the night before our cruise, we didn't want to bother with cooking and having to clean it up, so we got Uber Eats, which was $81.79. Don't know if that really fits into... It definitely doesn't fit in this category now that I think about it, because we're not going to be able to use that again. We spent $81.79 on Uber Eats the night before the cruise. So for indirect cruise costs, mostly things that we're going to be able to use again on various stuff and that are just helpful to have around the house. I spent, this is what I spent. Simon also spent his own money on all of these things, but for what I spent, as far as indirect cruise costs are concerned, I spent $2,282.96. It's quite a lot of money, but also a lot of things that I need. I'm not very good at clothes shopping for myself, so having a purpose for doing my clothes shopping was really good. I've now got some clothes that fit me, which is great. Yeah, I mean, I've got my sunglasses, which I really liked having. I bought some books that I really enjoyed reading, and I'll be able to keep those forever. Mostly useful things. So now the grand total, everything that we spent that is at all in any way associated with the cruise, comes to $8,667.94. Just let that sink in for a moment. I don't know, what do you guys think? Does that sound like a lot of money, keeping in mind that we spent $1,300 worth of that on a photo shoot and $2,282 of that was for things that we're going to be able to keep using again for the rest of, probably not the rest of our lives, they're probably not going to last that long, but at least the next few years. I don't know, what do you guys think? We've never been on a big holiday ourselves before. I've booked myself a trip to Adelaide in the past, but I stayed with a friend, so I didn't have any accommodation costs, and I didn't really track what I spent on food and drink or anything while I was there. Let me know what you guys think. How embarrassed should I be of my spending for this cruise? I hope it was informative. I hope some people found some use out of this video and now have a better idea of what they can potentially expect to spend on a cruise and on things that they not necessarily need for a cruise, but just shopping up ahead of a cruise. I did a lot of research before we went on this cruise, but it was our first cruise, so things may change between what we did for this cruise and what we might do for another. We've got a few years before we go on any more cruises, but we're thinking New Zealand next. Let me know if you guys have any great suggestions for any cruises you've been on, particularly ones that leave from Brisbane or just Australia in general. Thanks so much for watching. Yeah, hopefully I'll be back next week with my cruise tips and review type video where I'll talk about our drinks package and some things that we learnt as first time cruisers that we didn't necessarily realise. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. I will link the cruise vlog playlists at the end of the video, so please check those out if you are interested.